What is up, fantasy footballers? Welcome to the Fantasy Planet, the Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm Alec. We got Jack here.
What's up, boys?
We got you when it comes to all things in the realm of fantasy football, helping you destroy your league mates, giving you that astronomical advantage, and of course, securing that championship title, maybe winning you some money along the way. So today we got our quarterback rankings and tier list for fantasy. But before we get to that, we have some recent news to talk about. We're going to start off with the running back contract situations in the NFL. So basically what's going on is running backs like Saquon, Tony Pollard, Josh Jacobs are all requesting new deals.
Yep.
Pretty much the whole RB market is saying they're underpaid.
2 of the top 10 RBs are paid right now. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's like McCaffrey and Kamara.
Yeah.
Basically, that's it. So Saquon, Pollard, Jacobs, these guys are on the franchise tag because pretty much no one in the NFL wants to pay the running back position right now, and they're all very upset with that. Basically, right now, they're kind of threatening to hold out, but we don't think Jacobs will do that.
Yeah, I still feel like 90% of these guys will still sign with their team that they're tagged with right now, but...
Yeah, so what happened was the franchise tag contract extension deadline passed, and none of those 3 guys got a new deal. We'll see if Saquon holds out. He's been the one that's like most adamant about this running back group, deserving more.
I think I saw something like, I don't know, a couple days ago, like there was like tweets on like every single running back said something about it on Twitter.
Yeah, I mean, it's wild.
Like, they're complaining about how their position isn't paid enough, basically. I mean,
yeah,
they're getting not used, but like.
Yeah, another interesting thing was there was like 6 guys in the league. 3 of them were running backs that were on the franchise tag going into this extension deadline, and Evan Ingram was one of them, tight end for the Jaguars, and he got a deal. What was it, like 3 years?
Like
45 million?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Basically saying he is getting paid more than any running back in the league besides McCaffrey.
I saw a like Instagram post on that ESPN posted like, I don't know, just a couple of days ago about it was like kickers are like the average pay for kickers is higher than running backs, which can be kind of like messed up a little bit because you kind of like
if you look
third
at
tier running backs, like
yeah.
third tier. There's no third tier kickers, you know what I mean? Like you have to sign something like that, but that's still pretty sad when you think about it.
So these running backs can be playing on that franchise tag and make a pretty decent salary, like the league average, or they can hold out. They're not under contract. They have no incentive to play. So if they hold out, there's nothing negative going against them. So we'll see, but I don't think Josh Jacobs will. Tony Pollard for sure probably won't. The main thing with Tony Pollard actually is to see if they sign another veteran running back.
Exactly. I think there's a chance of that.
Because in fantasy right now, we're looking at him like a really late RB1, like RB7 through 10 maybe.
I feel like Leonard Fournette would fit in well there, like just like a goal line running back.
Even Zeke coming back, we see like Zeke, they just let Zeke go. Yep. They let Fournette go. They let Kareem Hunt go. Vikings let Cook go. It's like these running backs just aren't valued. Their careers aren't that long either, so it's tough. Can move on. Well, actually, let's stay with running backs. Let's talk about Fournette had a workout with the Pats, and also who else were they working out?
It was
the Rams guy.
Darrell Henderson.
Yeah.
So they're definitely looking for somebody right now, which kind of, I mean, I really like Ramondre heading into the season, but when you have...
Yeah, right now, Ramondre looks like a league winner.
I'm trying to draft Ramondre as much as I can right now, but, I mean, if they sign Fournette, it's going to be a lot of goal work taken away from Ramondre. I mean, I think Ramondre will still get that receiving game he had last year, for sure, but...
Yeah.
I don't know.
He's pretty much secured...
a little bit for Ramondre.
Yeah, he's secured into that, like, third down back role. Yeah. I think Fournette's actually a pretty nice fit for the Patriots as a team, but obviously it's not ideal for us in fantasy. Yeah. Breece Hall was just put on the PUP list. If that was during the season, it would mean he'd miss the first 6 weeks of the season, which would probably lower his value, 2 or 3 rounds in fantasy?
At least, yeah.
But since it's the off season,
I mean, who else do they even have there? I mean, I feel like
they
they
still have
got,
Michael Carter, I think.
Yeah, but I don't know. I got a feeling they'll take him off it because they don't want to start Michael. They want Hall. I mean,
Yeah, even if he does
I don't
play,
know.
you're expecting a slow start, which is why we're seeing him get
Yeah.
drafted like RB 11, pretty much ADP right now.
Yeah, basically. But also, I mean, like heading into the first few weeks of the season, he's not playing, and manager getting pissed that he's not playing yet.
Yeah.
You buy low, but
Mm,
we'll
but
talk
it's-
about that stuff later.
Yeah, we
so.
got RB episode coming a week or two. Yeah, but since he's on PUP and it's only the preseason in training camp, they can take him off, activate him anytime.
Yeah.
We also saw Pacheco. Andy
Who's
Reid's thinking about
questioning
Yeah,
putting him on there and
he
stuff,
might go on
but-
too. All right, let's transition over to DeAndre Hopkins, another big time free agent, signed with the Tennessee Titans. So this actually has a big impact for fantasy.
Yeah.
He was getting drafted, wide receiver 25-ish
Yeah, something.
when he's a free agent, but now he's risen up maybe like 2 rounds. So it's for him
think
pretty much it's not that big of a
We
deal.
both probably moved him up like how many spots in our rankings? Like
Let me check.
I kind of have him up now with like Keenan Allen tier, like a little bit above Drake London, like around there. But like before, he was down with like my DJ Moore, Pittman, and stuff. But we'll talk about wide receiver rankings a lot more
Yeah.
in the wide
It's our
receiver
first episode, so it might not be the best, but we will improve. He's gonna have that massive target share, but really with the Titans offense, they don't throw that much, so
Yeah,
those kind of even
I
out
mean,
to keep him where he's at right now.
Tannehill's back now too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
But
know.
really where this impacts people is it's kind of like the Chiefs wide receivers, the Patriots wide receivers. We were seeing them ADP drop a little bit because people are afraid that Hopkins would sign there, but now that he's not there, obviously those guys can rise. And Derrick Henry, the two concerns with him were injuries and
Yeah.
the Titans are just a terrible offense. Now that Hopkins signs, it gets
Yeah.
rid of that second concern.
I mean,
so what
I
do you
was
think?
gonna say you keep talking about that Derrick Henry. I'll talk about
Okay.
Burks.
So Henry basically people moving up into you're more comfortable taking him as your RB1 mid to late. So
Yeah. All right. The biggest takeaway that I had from Hopkins going to the Titans was Treylon Burks. Like, I was like, okay, Treylon Burks. You know, I'm drafting him around ADP. You know, like wide receiver. What's wide receiver?
35-ish.
Yeah, around there. And now it's just like I'm staying away from him honestly because Tannehill is just he's definitely not a good enough quarterback to produce good from
Yeah,
Hopkins. And I mean, I think Hopkins is still probably gonna get 10 targets a game there. 'cause
yeah.
he
Another
deserves that.
another big one with me is their tight end, Chigo Okonkwo, whatever his name is. He was an interesting later round sleeper tight end, but it makes it a lot harder to take that shot on him now, especially with the Titans' low volume passing offense.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into the quarterbacks. So we are going to be listing off the average between us, and that's what you'll see on your screen if you're watching on YouTube right now. Number 1, we got Patrick Mahomes. Number 2, we got Jalen Hurts. Number 3, Josh Allen. That is our S tier,
I call it the big three.
big 3. So for me, it's like I love all 3 of these guys. Honestly, they're all equal to me. Like, you pick your poison here.
Yeah. I mean, you want to keep talking or you want me to talk?
You go.
All right. So yeah. So the big three here: Mahomes, Hurts, Allen. The reason I kind of have Mahomes just like a little bit ahead of the other two, mainly because where you're drafting that in the second round, I want consistency from whoever I'm drafting there. Like I don't want, like if it's I don't know, I just want consistency. And Mahomes definitely has that with the offense there in Kansas City because when you look at Hurts and Allen, they both have a very high ceiling because of their rushing upside, but it's just the injuries. I feel like a setback could be coming from one of those two this year. I mean, Mahomes had it last year was his ankle, or not last year,
2 years ago.
2 years ago with his ankle, and I don't know.
that's most of the concern for me with Josh Allen, especially with if I'm the Bills, like you want to keep this guy for as long as you can, and giving him every touch at the goal line rushing doesn't really do that for them. So you could be concerned with a little drop off in
Yeah.
goal line usage as a running back, especially since they signed Damian Harris. Like he's not going to get as many. I
Yeah.
don't feel
So
like.
you
That's
have
why he's at 3.
You have Hurts over Allen.
Over Allen, I've heard
Yeah.
that too.
I mean, I definitely see that. I mean, I feel like we've seen. I don't know. Do you think we've seen Allen at his ceiling or no?
I think he has a higher ceiling. I don't think he's ever going to reach it. Like
Do you
he's had his best
think-
season. Like last year, he was
I don't
going
think.
the
I
number
definitely
1.
don't think Hurts had his ceiling last year. I feel like he can definitely
No.
expand on his passing game at least.
Yeah, so for me, it's
But-
like if you want to chase that upside, it's Hurts. Because if you
Yeah,
take the average fantasy points per game out of all 3 of these guys, Hurts had the highest.
Yeah.
But like
Just
Mahomes,
Hurts was a little more all over with his points. You know,
Yeah.
he might have had like a 35, almost 40 point game, but he also might have had like that 15 to 20
yeah,
game.
he got
So-
hurt towards the end of the year,
I
which
mean,
is
15
why
to 20 is still not bad by any means.
yeah, it's great.
But,
But he got hurt, so like his position ranking isn't as high. He didn't finish as high, but his average was higher. Yeah, that was bad. So yeah, if you're chasing more of like that floor and you want high level production, that's Mahomes. You have a stat about
I
that,
mean,
right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Mahomes is going like middle second round right now. I mean, around there, right?
That's a
Late
little
second,
early, but
late
yeah,
second. Yeah, but I mean, Hurts and Allen are going picks after him, so I mean,
I'd pretty much be okay taking the latest guy out of these 3, honestly.
Yeah. But
But if we look at Hurts, it's the rushing upside completely. If you look at on Underdog Fantasy, they have player props, they have best ball drafts. The player prop for him right now for betting is 11.5 rushing touchdowns. That's the over/under. So like they're expecting him to get 11,
yeah.
which is insane. That's
Another good thing
66
about
fantasy
another good
points.
thing about Hurts is the line. Best
Yeah.
line in the league right there, and
Mhm.
that kind of gives them like a little more safer than
they
Allen.
got rid of Sanders. They brought in Rashad Penny and DeAndre Swift.
DeAndre Swift. Yeah,
Which-
we'll talk about them guys in episodes.
Neither
and
of them
stuff,
are great.
but I like
goal
Swift.
line
I like
runners.
Swift there. I think Swift
Not-
might. Be
I hate
good
Swift,
there.
dude.
Explosive running. Okay,
don't-
we'll talk
don't
about it
do
later.
it.
We'll talk
Okay.
about it later.
Yeah, Mahomes going before the other 2 in pretty much all leagues. But honestly, take any of the 3. Can't blame you there.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to pay the price, but whatever.
Yeah, all right.
All right, heading down to our next tier, our A tier, we have at 4 Justin Fields, 5 is Lamar, Burrow 6.
We both have Fields at 4.
Yes.
I believe with the addition of DJ Moore, I feel like he'll hopefully pass more than 150 yards a game this year. He'll probably be higher than that, and then the rushing upside's insane for Fields there. I mean, even with the offense being terrible last year, that he still was able to produce crazy amounts.
Yeah,
And-
so Fields, he finished as the fantasy quarterback 6 last year, despite being on the worst passing offense in the last 10 years.
yeah, it's crazy.
It's literally
Yeah, I mean,
in pretty much most.
he could easily, if his passing game is like even like average this year, I feel like he still could finish
So the
above
stat is,
the guys we had in tier 1.
yeah, he threw for less than 150 yards a game. That's not
Terrible.
good at
That's
all.
terrible.
But if he's gonna go out and average 80 rushing yards a game, that's gonna make up for that.
Yeah,
He's gonna carry the ball 10 plus times a game. I mean, that unlocks that elite upside. I think he'll be able to take that jump kind of like Hurts did from his rookie to his second year, become a better passer. I think the Bears offense will be much improved, like Jack said. All right. Next up, we got Lamar. What do you got?
Well, first of all, I have Lamar over Burrow. Do you have Burrow over Lamar?
I have Burrow just ahead of Lamar.
Okay.
But I think for me, it's with these 3, they're also all equal. You could pick your poison, same like the top 3 for me. I like all 3.
I like Fields and Lamar better than Burrow just because of the rushing upside. Like, I feel like they both have like a really high ceiling, but Fields definitely has the lowest floor, I think, than even Lamar, because
Yeah,
Lamar was like,
I don't know about that, because like it seems like his lowest floor because he doesn't throw, but it's really that rushing. If he finished as
But when I
QB6
like
and he
think
only
about it,
throws
I just think
150,
about the offense. I'm like, if they can't move the ball, like if they're stopping their rushing game, if they're stopping Fields rushing, their Bears can't do anything. They won't be able to score.
I guess we saw like I was looking at his game log. I think it was like week 16 or 17. He played the Bills. They decided to stop his runs. He finished with 15 rushing yards. What, like 5 fantasy points?
Yeah,
Like
that was bad.
that's the floor.
Yeah, that's the reason I'm kind of like a little bit scared about Fields. But anyways, about Lamar, I just have him over Burrow just because. I mean, I love Burrow still because of Chase, Higgins, Mixon. They got Irv Smith now, who might fit in well there, and I don't know. Burrow will be consistent. He'll throw for a lot of touchdowns this year and passing yards, but Lamar. Who's stopping Lamar from getting his return to his MVP season? I mean, that could easily happen this year.
Defensive ends.
Yeah, I mean, but like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's
if Lamar
definitely
doesn't get injured, he easily could finish.
Lamar has that
year.
upside, yeah.
Yeah, so that's why I like him above Burrow, but I don't know.
I
feel like Fields and Lamar are very interchangeable.
Yeah, I've been changing these two in my rankings throughout the offseason, but
I think most like sleeper probably. I know Underdog has Lamar over Fields.
So the ESPN came out with the top 10 quarterback rankings, and Burrow was actually ranked number 2 by it's like all the coaches, executives in the league rank these guys. Burrow's 2, like stepping into his like 4th year now, right?
Something like that. He was injured one year, but yeah.
Yeah, that was a concern with him 2 years ago. But he ranked no lower than 5th in passing attempts, completions, yards, and touchdowns. So at his lowest, he was 5th in all of those key stats. Those are pretty much the big quarterback stats.
Yeah.
So I think that's why they run plays fast. It's a super high volume offense.
I love watching.
He moves the ball. He could easily throw for 500 yards. That's why I like him with his floor too, because we saw Lamar last year. That's why I have Burrow above Lamar. Lamar was just riddled by injuries and just, I don't know.
I agree.
All right. Moving down to the next tier. Actually, I want to say with Lamar, he's a new offensive coordinator. They're expecting to throw the ball more. They brought in Odell, drafted Zay Flowers. Rashad Bateman's back, hopefully healthy.
Yeah.
This could be a very good team, honestly, if the defense takes another step forward.
Yeah.
So we'll see with Lamar. He has that upside.
That's why I said he has that QB1 upside, with.
Yeah, big range of outcomes. All right, heading down to the next tier, the B tier. We have at 7, Justin Herbert. At 8, Trevor Lawrence. So these two, once again, I kind of think they're equal. This isn't for a position. It's just the quarterbacks this year I feel like are all pretty similar within their own
So you said
respective tier.
You have them equal with each other?
Pretty much. I lean Lawrence.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I was about to say that
Wait,
too.
no,
The reason I lean Lawrence a little bit is because there's that offense could be like something.
You lean Lawrence?
Yeah.
Don't you have Herbert higher in your rankings?
I mean,
You prefer
When I
Lawrence.
first put in my rankings a couple weeks ago, I had Herbert above him, but like I've been kind of like researching a little more about the Jaguars and their offense. I'm excited to see what the Jaguars can do this year. I mean, they added Ridley, and I've heard so many reports about Ridley being like coaches saying like the best wide receiver they've seen in practice, like ever.
I mean, dude was top 5 wide receiver
And-
just 2 years ago.
Yeah, and Kirk, going into his second year, he'll have the better chemistry there with Lawrence and stuff. I mean, I'm not saying Kirk will take the step up from last year because
Definitely
of
not.
the addition of
He won't.
Ridley. Ridley will take away a lot of targets there. But I mean, I still think he'll be like a flex.
Yeah, no, for sure, good flex. If you remember with the Jaguars, they had that crazy comeback game in the wild card round against my Chargers. That was sad for me to watch that.
Yeah, that was a
30 point. That was.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about it, but and then second round of the playoffs, they almost beat the Chiefs. Like, this is a legit team. Lawrence stepping into his 3rd year now. He was an insane prospect. They could be scary, dude.
I mean, the only thing I think that's setting Jacksonville back is their O-line. I just don't know if I can
I don't
fully
know.
trust them yet. They're not great.
No, I mean, it's whatever.
It's
They have enough
That's
weapons.
the only reason that I kind of have been thinking about Herbert over Lawrence is because their line. Because I don't know, it's just both of these two quarterbacks can finish higher than
Yeah.
7 and 8 for sure.
We talk about Herbert. Last year, of course, the down year, but I think people are expecting that bounce back. I'm just not
yeah.
buying into it.
I mean,
as
the
much.
thing about Herbert is he was missing Keenan Allen for almost half the year last year. He was missing Mike Williams for like quarter of the year. I mean, he didn't have his weapons, and he still was.
He was throwing to Joshua Palmer as wide receiver
He was
one. I
still
remember starting him
producing
last year.
All right. I mean, and he has all those weapons back, and hopefully they can stay healthy this year. Keenan Allen probably won't stay healthy, but yeah. So, and they got Eckler obviously too.
Yeah,
If he signed, which he probably will, but
what kind of happened with him was he requested a trade. They basically said no, and he can't really do anything about it.
Yeah.
Like, he's gonna play this year and probably end up somewhere else. I don't think they want to pay him. No running backs want to get, or nobody wants to pay running backs right now.
But
And these rankings are for redraft leagues where you can adjust your lineup every week. Of course, best ball, you're kind of chasing that elite upside.
I mean,
so you can try to
also-
win high stakes tournaments, but
also, I mean, it doesn't matter right now because we're just on QBs, but we're just with QBs, but
it's PPR. So
yeah, but we're also when we get into our RB and wide receiver rankings, it's our league format is 1 QB, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, right?
yeah,
And then
I mean, it
tight end
doesn't.
flex.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter positional rankings,
Yeah,
but
when
once
we get like into our
top 50
top 50 like
overall, yep.
yeah, well, that's our league format, but we'll talk about that more later. So you good with Lawrence and Herbert? Or you want to talk about them more?
I don't know. With Herbert, it's like we saw it 2 years ago, finished as
Yeah, we saw.
what? Quarterback 2 or 3? I don't know. He was being drafted in that elite range with Mahomes, Allen, and him. Basically,
Yeah.
he just kind of disappointed last year. He was
I mean-
dealing with a little injury to himself,
true,
his
true,
elbow
true.
or whatever,
It wasn't his
shoulder maybe. I don't know.
I thought it was like his. Maybe I thought it was rib or something. I
Yeah,
don't
well, these
remember.
are both great options.
Yeah,
I lean Lawrence a little bit.
yeah. I mean, we'll talk about since we're moving on to the tier
C
now. Please, like, this is like the one thing I want like everybody here watching draft QB early. I mean, me and Al both say this.
I do
Draft
agree.
QB early. Please draft. The top 8 we had, which was Mahomes, Hurts, Allen, Fields, Burrow, Lamar, Lawrence, and
After Lawrence and Herbert, we think there's a pretty big drop
we think it
off.
drops off. And I mean,
And, like, if
I
you-
mean, the guys that we have next year aren't like
They're
like,
fine
They're
options.
not bad quarterbacks. They could finish, for sure top 10. I mean, a couple of them maybe top 5.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna draft,
But also they
quarterback
could
that late-
finish. They could all finish
Yeah.
way lower.
So the thing is, if you draft quarterback late like this, you're gonna want to double up. Either get a guy with like a high floor and then insane upside and ceiling,
Yeah.
or because if you draft one, you're kind of screwed.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of just drafting like a Aaron Rodgers and having him as your QB1 or Kirk Cousins, expecting them
because
no
basically
higher than quarterback.
you could
8
pick
per
up
week.
like you can pick up a quarterback on the waiver that has a good matchup, and they might just be as good as those guys that you have right there on the QB 10 to 15.
But even though it's going to cost you, we like drafting quarterback early here.
yeah,
I personally think any of these top 6 guys, even 8, all of these guys can finish as the quarterback 1. That's what you're chasing, is that upside.
Yeah.
And none of them have a low floor. So, all right. I feel like I'm like
So-
super shaky in my voice.
Why?
I've had so much caffeine, dude. It's bad.
Yeah. All right, so move on to
All right,
our
C
next
tier.
C tier. Yeah.
We have number 9, Daniel Jones. Number 10, Deshaun Watson. So honestly, this is pretty high for Daniel Jones, but
I mean,
it's
yeah,
relatively
we
low
both
for
like
Watson.
Him. I mean,
This is Watson's spot.
We saw he can rush last year. We saw what he can do on the ground. I mean, he has Waller now, but me personally, I don't really like Waller a lot this year, but it could work. It definitely could work out. I see it working out.
He's got
but
that rushing you're looking for in fantasy.
Yeah.
He may not be the best NFL quarterback. I do think the Giants are not a bad team. Like,
No, they made playoffs. They beat the Vikings first round playoffs last year. They're not bad, but
don't mention that, bro.
that was a hard game to watch as Vikings fans. But
I watched them beat the Giants like 2 weeks ago in the stadium, white out Christmas, and then they go and choke it.
yeah, it was bad. All right, but
Like, it's whatever though.
um,
About Herbert, actually, I want to go back and say all of the injuries and concerns Jack was talking about, he only had 4 games over 20 fantasy points. Like that's brutal, dude.
Yeah.
I'd say.
But like I mentioned also the fact that he was missing a lot of weapons last year. He was
I know.
missing wide receivers a lot, which can really like hurt a quarterback.
Mhm.
And when you have him back, I mean, we'll see what he can do.
A
Hopefully
lot of
he can
people
do better.
have him in this upper tier with Fields, Lamar, Burrow. I'm not buying into that. Like
Definitely not.
those guys have that elite floor and upside combination. Herbert's lower floor to me.
All right.
Um,
I don't really have much to say about
Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, I mean,
I think the Cleveland offense should be good this year, even though they let go of Hunt.
yeah.
Elijah Moore came in.
Deshaun Watson when he was playing last year was not. I didn't.
Yeah, but like
It
I've
was
heard
like-
people mentioning like he was in an offense designed for Jacoby Brissett. He came in after all the media and everything. He just couldn't perform in it, honestly. His rushing declined a little bit.
I
Like
can kind of buy in this. Like I can kind of buy into that, seeing that. It's just he's definitely. I don't think he'll ever return to what he was 2018, 2019. Like I don't think.
And
I don't think that's coming back.
at least I kind of view him as one of the younger guys, but he's pretty old. I think he's almost 30. He's drafted.
I'm not sure. I mean, I remember him playing in 2017, but I agree with Alec about being the.
Never
about
mind.
the
He's
Browns.
27. He's going to year 28.
Yeah, but I
Older
agree
than
with
Lamar.
Alec. I agree with Alec about the Browns' offense kind of taking a step up this year, but I think that's gonna be Chubb. I like Chubb.
I agree.
I think Chubb is gonna be great this year. No Hunt, most
And
likely.
we may see with Watson like what we saw with Russ last year before that, steady decline in rushing. We've already seen that lower step of rushing from
Yeah.
Watson. Hopefully he can bounce back. We hope. But
and like basically his only weapon is Amari Cooper
Mhm.
too.
he was
or-
bad. He was bad last year, honestly. Elijah Moore, my guy.
No, Elijah Moore. No. But
Jack hates the way I say Moore.
it's more.
Moore. I'm saying Moore. Elijah Moore.
You guys in the comments, let us know if it's more or more. It's more.
It's not
but
Moore. There's 2 O's, but okay.
Nobody says more.
Elijah Moore.
All right, whatever. We're not gonna talk about it right now.
DJ Moore.
All right, let's move on to
D tier.
Geno Smith here first in D tier. Yeah, I mean, what was he? He was great last year. Like QB 5, 6, something like that.
Yeah, he finished as the QB5 last
Yeah.
year. People are ranking him this low. They don't think he's going to be able to produce the same. I think we're higher than ADP by 3 spots, maybe 3
Yeah.
rankings.
Yeah, I mean, they already had 2 great receivers locking in Metcalf. I mean, they just added JSN, who's, I mean, I think he could be better than Lockett for sure.
I think
but,
this year it'll probably even be better than Lockett.
yeah, but yeah, I mean, Seattle's defense is not good, so they'll need to be throwing the ball, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's a guy that broke out after he was 30 years old, after he had done nothing, pretty much nothing his whole NFL
Yeah,
career.
I mean, there was a reason he beat out Drew Lock in training camp. And
I know, but there's also a reason he was a backup for 10 years of his career. But
I mean,
I don't know. They draft Zach Charbonnet. I think this could actually be a solid team. Remember coming into last year, we did like
Yeah.
record predictions. It was like 3-14.
yeah,
we kind of
we
sold
did
on
not
that
like,
one.
We didn't not like that.
All right, rest of the D tier though. D tier, Geno.
Yeah. Can I say
Tua-
something about Geno?
Let me
say
read him
something.
quick. Tua at 12, Dak 13, Anthony Richardson 14, Aaron Rodgers 15. Okay, Geno.
Oh yeah, I was about to say like even if you draft, this is, which like Geno's getting drafted now. Like where is he? Even if you waste even if Geno falls off and you waste this draft pick on him, I mean it's still not it's still not the end of the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
I mean-
he has this. You saw last year. He has the ceiling of the QB5.
Yeah, like some people
Like-
can view him as a guy that's like not exciting, no ceiling, doesn't run that much. He finished QB5.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. I mean, he
come on.
has the potential to be all the way up there. I mean, I don't think there's not a point in drafting him, but
Yeah,
he's definitely my favorite QB out of this tier.
I've had too much caffeine, dude.
All right, Tua.
Let's see. Yes, Tua. I have one other guy in this tier above Geno. That it's Dak, but Jack is low on Dak, so the average is lower. All right, with Tua, I think he's still a super underrated NFL quarterback.
I mean, I kind of agree. Yeah.
Like, he was. Let me see the stat.
Well, having Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle helps a lot.
Yeah, if you take his healthy games last year, he was quarterback 7 in fantasy. Even though he doesn't rush, and
He won't be rushing.
yeah,
I'll tell you
the
that.
weapons around him are insane. Like,
Yeah.
the Dolphins are a good team.
I mean,
He's
even especially if they sign Cook, I mean,
Mhm.
that's gonna be even better.
Big thing with him, they did draft a rookie running back Devon Achane, but I think they could still get Cook.
For sure.
Yeah.
Cook wants to go there too, I heard. So.
Yeah, I heard they just don't want to pay him. Of course, the running back market.
Yeah.
But the biggest concern with Tua is those injuries, those concussions he had to deal with. People are nervous,
Mhm.
rightfully so. But
I mean,
I think he'll
I
be
thought I
out.
remember seeing last year, like, what was it, the game against the Ravens? He like didn't even have like 20 rushing yards, but he had like still like 40, not 40, but like 30 some.
Yeah, that
points.
was a crazy game though.
30 some points with no rushing. I mean, you've seen what he can do with just throwing the ball, which is kind of crazy, honestly. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
usually when you take a look at all of our QBs that are above him, all of them can probably run the ball better than Tua.
Yeah, it's fair.
The only one maybe can't is probably Burrow. I don't know.
I don't
But,
know. No,
Yeah,
Burrow can.
I'm
Burrow
just
can.
really surprised to see how much Tua can do with just throwing the ball. It's kind of crazy, but I don't have anything else about Tua.
All right. Burrow, by the way, does get a lot of those like goal line rushes too, which does take away from Mixon. Whatever. We don't have to talk about that. Yeah. Next up, we got Dak Prescott. I'm a little bit higher than Jack on this one. Jack, tell me why you're low on him.
I just don't. I mean, I like CD. That's very like Dak and CD is a good duo and stuff, but I don't know. I just haven't. I mean, I see why you have him here. Like the Dallas offense isn't bad. It's not bad by any
Yeah.
means, and it's just I just don't see like Dak improve. Like I feel like Dak might be on the decline. Like how old is Dak?
He's got to be. He's around Deshaun Watson. He's almost 30, I'd say.
Yeah. So I mean,
That might be
he's
way
getting
off,
up there in
but hopefully
age.
it's right.
He's definitely not younger than Deshaun Watson.
No, I don't think so.
But I don't know. They lost Schultz.
He finished. It was only 2 years ago we saw him finish quarterback 2 in fantasy.
They added Brandon Cooks, I guess. I love Brandon Cooks, but as a player,
Jack
but
always gets Brandon Cooks.
I don't think Brandon Cooks will do too much for that. Like I don't know. Why do you like Dak?
I like Dak. I mean, it's not that I like him. It's just you're lower. The things about him I like are they got rid of Zeke, so they're expected to pass the ball more. Obviously, they got rid of their offensive coordinator, the guy who wants to air it out all the time. That was hurting him. He had a ton of interceptions.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't look as fast running the ball. He
Definitely
didn't
not.
run as much, but I think that might have been him coming off a little bit of
I think
being banged up.
that'll still be there. I don't think he has much rushing upside, honestly. But
I mean, it's whatever. He finished his lowest ever last year, I think. Maybe it was
I'm
year
not
before.
100%
But,
sure. But
yeah, they add Brandon Cooks. They still have Michael Gallup, CeeDee Lamb's emerging. They're gonna have to lean on the pass game, and I think he's a guy that's like, I don't know what else honestly with him. He's a solid target. Like he's not gonna get lower than 10 points a game almost ever, I'd say.
fair.
But also he doesn't have that much upside because I don't know. But hopefully Mike McCarthy doesn't make them grind it
Exactly. I
out
mean,
and play slower because
when
resting his defense.
When
like,
I look
that's
at
how I'll say.
QBs this late, I'm like, I want to get somebody that has a lot of upside. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's just you're taking a chance on some of these guys. But when you take a look at Dak, you're like, he's going to be consistent for you, but he's not going to get you that like top 5 QB finish. I don't think he will.
Yeah.
All right, here. Looking at next, we have Anthony Richardson. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, our average, we have him at 14. If you're like in a best ball high stakes, you can take him a lot higher. This is a dude that's like, his rushing upside's ridiculous. We didn't see him like even throw the ball too well at Florida in college, but
That can develop, I think.
yeah, I think people are scared of this Indianapolis Colts offense as a whole because like we just don't know what to expect really with Richardson.
Yeah. I mean,
He has QB1 upside, honestly.
He kind of reminds me a lot of Fields, honestly.
He's bigger, but
super athletic.
yeah, he'll get more
Not-
touchdowns. Hopefully,
Not a great arm.
hopefully not
but,
vulture too many from Jonathan Taylor, but
Yeah.
I
I'm
think-
just kind of scared that
I can
with
see
him
myself
being there
moving
and him
higher.
not being like the greatest passer coming out of college, they might be running the ball. So it's way too much for him to be like.
He's gonna be getting the run plays. I feel like though.
Yeah, I mean, but
I can see
I
him
don't know.
turn into
where we
like
saw
Fields.
where we saw Indianapolis do well 2 years ago. Jonathan Taylor was running crazy, which I feel like is what the Colts want to get back to. But that's the only thing that scares about Richardson. I mean, I love Richardson because of the rushing upside and just his talent to be a great fantasy quarterback.
Yeah, we have him relatively low, but you could take him at the top of this
Yeah.
tier. We could even see
Underdog
him
has
moving
him at
11.
11. Yeah.
I can see moving him into this next upper tier, C tier with Daniel
Yeah.
Jones, Deshaun
His-
Watson.
yeah, it's
If
just
you're
his,
really,
his ceiling is good, but his floor is just
it's just really the
it's-
passing we're looking at. We don't know what to expect, honestly.
yeah.
But if you're a strong believer in him getting better as a passer,
Yeah.
bump him up.
Mm.
All right, our last guy in the top 15, we have Aaron Rodgers.
Mhm. I think
Hate this guy, dude.
we kind of disagree on him because it's like, yeah, I mean, in Green Bay, he had Devontae when he had his MVP season. I feel like he's gonna fit in well with the Jets. I feel like it's gonna
Jets
be great
could
out
be
there
a good team.
because I'm not saying he's gonna have another MVP season out there, but
He's not going to.
it's possible. But he's just like he's gonna be consistent. He's not gonna be like the top 5 QB, but I think he could be top 10. He has the top 10.
Yeah, but honestly,
It's-
at this point in your draft,
Yeah,
if you're
I was
drafting
about
at this
to get to
late,
that. You want
the upside.
Yeah,
Like,
you want the upside, not the consistency.
I'm not
from the
drafting a guy
quarterback.
that I think the stat was in his MVP season. You know where he finished in fantasy rankings?
It was like QB.
It's QB 7 overall.
Yeah.
Like, why? And we're not expecting to have another MVP season. So like, if his highest he's gonna finish is quarterback 8, 9, I don't see the reason to draft him. Pick up Richardson instead. To me, Jack, what do you have in like quarterback 12?
No, I don't have him quarterback 12. I have
It's
him.
a lot more safety, but I'm
I
not a fan
have
of drafting
him,
that late.
I have him 13, so
I'm fine with taking him, pairing him with Richardson.
I kind of have him
Have a
like mixed
floor
in with
option and
Prescott
an
around
upside.
13 and 14. I have those two around
Yeah,
the same.
yeah.
But
I have him down at
I
18
think, but
18,
the
I
thing is,
think.
I have Prescott and Rodgers basically like around the same. Like, what's the difference between them?
Rodgers, at his best, is going to be quarterback.
Okay,
8.
Rodgers is better
Dak
than Dak.
Prescott, quarterback
Rodgers
2.
is better than Dak.
2 years ago.
What?
Dak Prescott was quarterback 2 years ago, overall.
He was?
Yes, he was. Remember that?
I don't remember that.
I had him. It's like one of my early fantasy team names, the Dak Street Boys.
All right, whatever. But I don't know. I think Rodgers and Dak are like similar in the not much rushing upside, but
Rodgers is 0.
a good amount of talent on the.
It's Aaron
on
Rodgers,
offense.
so I mean, yeah, whatever you want to do.
I'm just
honestly.
saying he could fit in really well there and could
Yeah.
thrive. The thing is that it's not. We're not talking about real life. We're talking about fantasy. So we want the rushing to be there, and it's
Yep.
not for Rodgers.
All right, moving on to these later option guys. I have some of these fitting into this D tier along with guys like Geno, Tua, Dak, Richardson, Rodgers. But they didn't make the top 15, so I have Jared Goff, Kirk Cousins, and Russell Wilson. These are all guys you can target. These 3 specifically don't have much upside. They're similar to Rodgers in that way. But if you want to take one of them, pair him with Rodgers, that's fine for me. I know people have Cousins a lot higher, actually. He's
Yeah,
finished-
I mean, the reason I only went to QB 15 on my rankings, and that's just because I feel like when you get higher than that, it's a bunch of QBs that you're going to be seeing on the waiver most of the time. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
they might be your backup QB on the bench, and then you might play him when your starter has a bye. I just
Yeah.
don't see ranking them or even drafting them in the first place.
Yeah. Like in redraft.
I mean, the only reason
can
I see you
expect-
drafting them is like best ball when
Yeah, in redraft you can
you
expect
have,
your
like,
bench
you could double up on.
to end up on waivers in like 3 or 4 weeks.
Exactly. There's just no. I don't know.
But
I don't see a point.
you could take. I'm fine with Cousins. He's finished over the last 3 years, quarterback 10 on average.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you see Cousins play a bad team, I don't know.
Vikings aren't going to be throwing less, especially after they let Cook go.
No, we saw them how much they threw last year.
I think they ranked 3rd in pass attempts or yards.
Exactly.
And I actually do really like Jared Goff. He's my quarterback 15. Concerns with him were like he's never finished as a quarterback 1 on average, quarterback 10 or higher. But that was with the Rams. Like the Rams never utilized him. He still doesn't run, but like they like to grind it out, run the ball, not rely on him. If you want to take a shot at him again.
I want to talk about Kyler. I had Kyler last year. I think I remember in our draft with our group of friends that he was going basically usually like almost back to back with Hurts. He was very similar to Hurts in the
hopefully you didn't take
the
him
rushing upside that Hurts has, and then the passing could be there. I mean, I think Kyler's going into last year was the better passer than Hurts, but Hurts kind of had the rushing maybe a little
We hope
more.
you took Hurts last year.
Well, the reason I took Kyler because Hurts was right before him. Otherwise, I probably would have took Hurts.
Board, yeah.
But with Kyler, I mean, he's going to be out. We know that for sure. At least, probably almost like the first half of the season.
Let's just monitor the preseason reports with him.
Yeah.
We'll see what. I mean, Colt McCoy to start.
They lost D Hop. I mean, they got Marquise Brown.
It's expected to be a really bad
Rondale
team.
Moore.
Defense is bad too.
But the good thing about being a bad team is for QBs, you're going to be throwing a lot. You're going to be scrambling a lot. You're going to be getting those points. You're not going to be running out the clock at the end of the game like you would be on a good team. Which is, I mean, that's always good to look at.
Playing from behind.
Yeah.
So.
But then you also take a look. A bad part is coming back from the injury that he just had. Could he be slow right away? You know what I mean? Like, there's just so many things with Kyler that we don't know. We don't really know where to put him at. I mean.
Yeah, you just gotta watch the reports.
Yeah.
I would. You could take him late, quarterback 2 or 3. I mean, I don't recommend drafting a third quarterback, but if you
I would
do
say
so,
in most ESPN leagues, is he even getting drafted?
I think he's like quarterback 20, 25.
Yeah. So I mean, like
another guy.
In your draft, he might not even be drafted. You could just pick him off the waivers sometime.
Yeah. Another guy I like, Kenny Pickett. I think this is a guy. First quarterback drafted in his draft class last year. The Steelers showed flashes towards the end of the year, like they could be a better team.
Yeah.
They had a winning record. Pickens taking that next step. He's got all the weapons. Pat Freiermuth, Najee Harris. I hate Najee Harris. It's okay.
Yeah,
I still won the league. I drafted Najee Harris first round. I won the league.
Najee Harris when he broke out rookie.
That's why you should listen to me.
Year, but
except not on rookie running backs.
All right, let's not talk about running backs here. Let's get back to Pickett.
Okay, man. All right.
I don't really have much to say about Pickett, but
you could see a leap like Trevor Lawrence. That's all I'm gonna say. He's not Trevor Lawrence, obviously, but
yeah, I think
he runs. He gets.
Yeah, he does run a lot. He does. He does have weapons. He's got Pickens and Johnson and Najee for the receiving game.
Pick him up late. Pair him with like a Cousins.
Yeah. I don't know. Just an option, good option later in the draft.
Well, that will wrap up our quarterback fantasy football rankings and tier list.
We want to hear your takes too. Comment down below with your suggestions on your takes and what you think of our takes. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share this with all your friends. Join our Discord and all our socials. The links are in the bio. See you guys next week. Peace.
See ya.